Hello, it's Brian here, and on the desk today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of dedicated music players, a category that, believe it or not, is still very much alive and kicking in 2025. Specifically, we're diving into a comprehensive comparison of the Aigo 40GB MP3 player with Bluetooth 5.0 and 5 of its top competitors currently making waves on Amazon as of May 2025. It's easy to think your smartphone has made these obsolete, but for a lot of people, having a separate device just for music, podcasts or audiobooks offers a cleaner, more focused experience. Plus, the advancements in storage, battery life and audio quality in these dedicated units can sometimes surprise you. The market for MP3 players isn't what it used to be, sure, but it's evolved. Now you've got a pretty diverse range of options, from super simple, budget-friendly players that just nail the basics, to more advanced Android-based devices that are essentially mini tablets focused on audio. Today we're looking at a solid cross-section of what's out there. We'll be putting the Aigo head-to-head with devices from Audiophile, Finistec, Swelfi and Amunsa, examining everything from their core specifications and feature sets to their real-world usability and who each player is ultimately best suited for. Each device we're unboxing and testing today offers unique features catering to different user preferences and budgets. Whether you're an audiophile looking for lossless playback on the go, an athlete needing something light and durable for workouts, or just someone who wants to disconnect from their phone and enjoy their music library without distractions, there's likely something in this lineup that will catch your eye. So we'll break down the pros, the cons, the nitty-gritty details, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a much clearer picture of which MP3 player, if any, deserves a spot in your pocket in 2025. Let's get into it. Alright, first up is the Aigo 40GB MP3 player. This is a device that on the surface seems to be aiming for simplicity and a dedicated music experience. It's compact, it's straightforward, and it's really built for users who know they want a separate music player, primarily for locally stored files, and appreciate the benefits of Bluetooth for their wireless headphones or speakers. There's no app store here, no web browser, just your music library and a way to play it. For some, that's a massive plus, a way to cut out the noise and just enjoy the tunes without notifications or the temptation to multitask. Now, one of its headline features is Bluetooth 5.0. And in 2025, Bluetooth 5.0 is a pretty solid, mature standard. This means you can expect stable and reasonably fast wireless connections. Pairing with modern Bluetooth headphones or speakers should be relatively seamless. The range should also be decent, allowing you to, say, leave the player on a bench at the gym while you work out nearby or connect to a speaker across the room. It also generally offers better power efficiency compared to older Bluetooth versions, which can contribute to overall battery life, a key factor for any portable device. Then there's the storage, 40GB of internal memory. That's a pretty decent amount for a dedicated player, especially if you're dealing with standard MP3 or AAC files. To put that into perspective, if an average song is about 4 megabytes, you're looking at space for roughly 10,000 songs, give or take. For most people, that's more than enough to carry a substantial chunk of their music library. If you're an audiophile with a vast collection of lossless files, 40 gigabytes might feel a bit more limiting, but for the average user, it's a generous starting point for a device in this category. Portability is another key aspect of the Aigo. It's designed to be lightweight and easy to carry. Think slipping it into a small pocket in your gym shorts or your bag without it weighing you down. This makes it a good companion for workouts, commuting, or any situation where you want your music on the go without the bulk of a smartphone. The build quality will be something we scrutinize, but the emphasis here is clearly on being unobtrusive and travel-friendly, which is a big part of the appeal for a dedicated player. However, a significant point to note is the lack of Wi-Fi connectivity. This is a deliberate choice, positioning the Aigo firmly in the camp of offline media players. Without Wi-Fi, you won't be streaming music from services like Spotify or Apple Music directly on the device. You also won't be getting over-the-air firmware updates or browsing the web. This simplifies the device significantly, but it's a crucial distinction for potential buyers who rely on streaming platforms for their music consumption. Loading music will be strictly via a computer connection. This absence of Wi-Fi naturally means no support for streaming apps. For users deeply embedded in ecosystems like Spotify, Tidal, or YouTube Music, this will be an immediate deal-breaker. The Aigo is for those who own their music files, who curate local libraries, and prefer that direct access. This can also be seen as a pro by some: no distractions, no need for subscriptions directly on the player, and a potentially longer battery life because Wi-Fi radios are power-hungry. It really depends on your listening habits and philosophy. Another characteristic of the Aigo is the absence of a touchscreen. In an era dominated by touch interfaces, this is a noticeable feature, or lack thereof. Navigation will likely rely on physical buttons, which can be a mixed bag. On one hand, physical buttons can be great for tactile feedback, making it easier to play, pause, or skip tracks without looking at the device. Think while running or with gloves on. On the other hand, navigating large libraries or complex settings menus can be more cumbersome with buttons compared to a responsive touchscreen. This ties into the advanced navigation options, or rather the simplicity of its navigation. You're probably looking at a fairly basic user interface. Don't expect a flashy OS or customizable widgets. The focus will be on getting to your music and playing it with minimal fuss. For some, this is perfect, less to go wrong, quicker to learn. For others accustomed to the slick UIs of smartphones or more advanced DAPs, digital audio players, it might feel a bit dated or limited in terms of browsing, searching, or playlist management on the device itself. So, who is the Aigo 40GB MP3 player really for? It's for the user who wants a dedicated, distraction-free music experience, primarily with their own music files. Someone who values simplicity, portability, and decent Bluetooth performance for their wireless audio gear, and perhaps wants to disconnect from the constant connectivity of their smartphone. It's for those who find the idea of curating and carrying their own library appealing, and don't need or want the complexities of streaming services and app ecosystems on their music player. In summary, the Aigo presents itself as a no-nonsense MP3 player. The pros: a clear solid Bluetooth 5.0, a good chunk of internal storage at 40GB, and a design that emphasizes portability. The cons are equally clear. No Wi-Fi means no streaming, and the button-based, non-touch interface might not be for everyone. It's a focused device, and whether that focus aligns with your needs is the key question. Next up, we have the AGP Tech T05, and this one immediately signals a different approach compared to the Aigo. The AGP Tech T05 is an Android-based MP3 player, and that fundamentally changes what it can do and who it's for. It comes with a 4-inch touchscreen, Bluetooth 5.0, and, crucially, Wi-Fi capabilities. This positions it less as a simple music box and more as a mini media tablet, with a strong emphasis on audio, but the flexibility to do more, especially when it comes to online content. The 4-inch touchscreen is a significant feature here. While not as large as modern smartphone screens, a 4-inch display is quite usable for an MP3 player. It should allow for more intuitive navigation through music libraries, settings, and importantly apps. Things like album art will look better, and interacting with a touch interface is generally quicker and more familiar to most people these days than physical buttons for complex tasks. The quality of this screen, its brightness, resolution, and responsiveness will be key to the overall user experience. Bluetooth 5.0 makes another appearance, which is good to see. It ensures that, like the Aigo, the AG Tech T05 can provide reliable wireless connections to your headphones and speakers. However, in the context of an Android device with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth also plays a role in connecting to other accessories, and its efficiency is still important for managing battery life, especially when other components like the screen and Wi-Fi radio are also drawing power. The synergy between these wireless technologies defines much of its capability. The inclusion of Wi-Fi is a game changer. This opens the door to online music streaming services, which is a primary draw for many users. If you live on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, or others, the AGP Tech T05 is designed to accommodate that. Beyond streaming, Wi-Fi also means potential for over-the-air firmware updates, downloading podcasts directly, and perhaps even some light web browsing or accessing other online content, depending on the Android version and any manufacturer restrictions. And that leads directly to one of its biggest pros: compatibility with Spotify and other streaming apps. Because it runs Android, likely a customized version, you should be able to install and run these apps just like on a smartphone. This means access to vast music catalogs, curated playlists, and your existing accounts without needing to transfer files manually. The performance of these apps will depend on the device's processor and RAM, which are important specs to consider for a smooth experience. A nice little bonus with the Aigo P-Tech T05 is the built-in speaker. While you probably won't be using it for critical listening, it's convenient for those times you want to share a song with someone quickly, listen to a podcast while doing chores, or just don't have headphones handy. The quality of these small built-in speakers can vary wildly, from surprisingly decent to pretty tinny, so it's more of a utility feature than a primary listening method. However, these advanced features come with a trade-off, and that's often battery life. The Aigo P-Tech T05 is noted to have a shorter playback time compared to non-Wi-Fi models like the Aigo. The 4-inch touchscreen, the Wi-Fi radio constantly searching or connected, and the Android OS itself all consume more power. So while you get more functionality, you might find yourself reaching for the charger more often, especially if you're heavily using Wi-Fi for streaming. The Android OS itself is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it offers immense flexibility, access to a vast ecosystem of apps, even beyond music, and a familiar interface for many. On the other hand, Android can be more complex than a dedicated proprietary OS found on simpler MP3 players. It might have more background processes, require more system resources, and could potentially feel a bit slower or more cluttered, if not optimized well for the hardware. For users wanting ultimate simplicity, Android might be overkill. Regarding its 40 gigabytes of storage, it's the same capacity as the Aigo on paper. However, it's important to remember that on an Android device, the operating system and pre-installed apps will take up a portion of that internal storage. So the actual usable space for your own music files or downloaded streaming content might be less than on a non-OS device with the same advertised capacity. Checking for micro SD card support for expansion would be crucial here. So who is the Aigo P-Tech T05 for? It's clearly aimed at users who want the convenience of streaming services on a dedicated player, appreciate a modern touchscreen interface, and don't mind the potential added complexity and reduced battery life that comes with an Android OS. It's for someone who wants more than just local file playback and sees value in the app ecosystem, perhaps using it for podcasts, audiobooks, and music streaming all in one portable package, separate from their phone. Moving on, we have the Focused A 632GB MP3 player. This one carves out its niche primarily as a budget-friendly option with a strong emphasis on battery life and expandable storage. It steps back from the smart features of the Aigo Tech T05 and aligns more with the Aigo in its focus on local playback, but with a few distinct characteristics. If you're looking for a player that can go the distance without needing frequent charges, the Focused Z6 is making a strong claim. The display on the Focused Z6 is a 2.4-inch screen, which is noticeably smaller than the Aigo P-Tech's 4-inch panel and likely a non-touch interface relying on physical buttons for navigation, similar to what we expect from the Aigo. This smaller, simpler screen is a key contributor to its power efficiency. While it won't offer the rich visual experience of a larger touchscreen, it's perfectly adequate for displaying track information, navigating menus, and basic album art if supported. The focus here is functionality over flair. Bluetooth 5.0 is also part of the Focused Z6's toolkit, ensuring it keeps pace with modern wireless headphone and speaker connectivity. This is becoming a standard feature even in budget-oriented players, and it's a welcome one, offering that reliable link for your audio gear. For a device that's all about long playback sessions, having an efficient Bluetooth version helps maintain that battery endurance even when listening wirelessly. One of the standout features, especially at its likely price point, is the expandable storage. While it comes with 32 gigabytes of internal memory, a slight step down from the Aigo and Aigo P-Tech, it supports micro SD cards up to 256 gigabytes. This is a huge advantage for users with extensive music libraries, especially if they have larger lossless files. It means the initial internal storage is less of a concern, as you can significantly boost capacity affordably, making it incredibly versatile for hoarders of music. The headline act for the Focused Z6 is undoubtedly its battery life, up to 90 hours of music playback. That's an impressive figure and a major selling point. This kind of longevity is achieved by a combination of factors: a power-efficient processor, the smaller non-touch display, the lack of Wi-Fi, and likely a well-optimized lightweight operating system. For users who travel frequently, go on long hikes, or simply don't want to worry about charging their MP3 player every day or two, this is a massive draw. Like the Audiophile T05, the Finistec Z6 also includes a built-in speaker. Again, this is a convenience feature for casual, headphone-free listening. Don't expect hi-fi sound, but for sharing a tune or listening to a podcast in a quiet room, it gets the job done. It adds a bit of versatility without significantly impacting the core mission of being a long-lasting music player, as speaker use would naturally drain the battery faster than headphones. Consistent with its focus on battery and simplicity, the Finistec Z6 has no Wi-Fi or streaming capabilities. This firmly places it in the category of offline players alongside the Aigo. Music needs to be loaded via a computer, typically through a USB connection. For users who prefer to own their music files and aren't interested in streaming services, this isn't a con, but rather a feature that contributes to the device's simplicity and exceptional battery performance. The brief mentions a smaller screen with limited functionality. This likely means the user interface will be quite basic. Navigation will be through physical buttons, and tasks like searching for specific songs in a very large library, especially on a large micro SD card, might be slower or more methodical compared to a touchscreen device. Playlist creation and management on the device itself might also be rudimentary. It's the trade-off for the price and battery life. So who is the Finistec Z6 designed for? It's for the budget-conscious individual who prioritizes battery life above almost all else. It's for the user with a large local music library who will take full advantage of that micro SD card slot. If you need a player that can last for days or even weeks on a single charge for regular listening, and you're happy with a simpler button-driven interface for your locally stored music, the Z6 is a very compelling option. Compared to the Aigo, the Finistec Z6 offers potentially much longer battery life and more significant storage expansion, though it starts with slightly less internal memory. Against the Audiophile T05, it's almost the polar opposite, sacrificing smart features, streaming, and a touchscreen for incredible endurance and a lower price. It really highlights the diversity in the MP3 player market, catering to very specific needs. The Finistec Z6 knows its strengths and leans into them hard. Now we're stepping into a more premium category with the Audiophile M503 Pro 80GB MP3 player. This device aims to be a high-capacity, feature-rich player combining a large touchscreen, Android OS, Wi-Fi, and a strong focus on audio quality, including support for lossless formats. It's positioned for users who want a top-tier experience from their dedicated player and are willing to invest a bit more for it. The Audiophile M503 Pro features a 4-inch touchscreen, similar in size to the Audiophile T05. A screen of this size on an Android device is crucial for a good user experience, allowing for smooth navigation, comfortable app usage, and a pleasant display for album art and media information. The responsiveness and quality of this display will be a key factor in its premium feel, hopefully offering good brightness and color reproduction for an enjoyable visual interaction alongside the audio. Like the Audiophile, the Audiophile M503 Pro comes equipped with both Bluetooth 5.0 and Wi-Fi. This combination is essential for a modern smart MP3 player. Bluetooth handles the wireless audio to headphones and speakers, while Wi-Fi enables access to streaming services, app downloads, firmware updates, and potentially other online content. The reliability and performance of these wireless connections are paramount for a device that leans heavily on them for its core functionality. Running on Android OS, the Audiophile M503 Pro offers the flexibility and app ecosystem that comes with it. This means you can likely install your favorite streaming apps, podcast clients, audiobook players, and perhaps even some utility apps. However, as with any Android device, the specific version of Android and the level of customization by Audiophile will influence the user experience, performance, and compatibility. A clean, well-optimized Android build is always preferred. A major selling point for the Audiophile M503 Pro is its generous 80 GB of internal memory. This is double what the Aigo and IGP tech offer internally and provides substantial space for a large music library, apps and downloaded content from streaming services. For users who prefer to keep a lot of media directly on their device, especially larger high-resolution audio files, this ample internal storage is a significant advantage from the get-go. And if 80 gigabytes isn't enough, the SWOFI M503 Pro reportedly supports microSD card expansion up to a whopping 512 gigabytes. This combination of large internal storage and massive expansion potential makes it a dream for serious music collectors and audiophiles who have vast libraries of lossless audio or high-resolution tracks. The ability to carry potentially hundreds of gigabytes of music is a key differentiator for this player. Compatibility with services like Spotify and Audible is explicitly mentioned, which is expected for an Android-based player with Wi-Fi. This means users can seamlessly integrate their existing subscriptions and access enormous catalogs of music, podcasts, and audiobooks. The performance of these apps will, of course, depend on the underlying hardware processor RAM. So it's important that SWOFI has equipped the M503 Pro adequately to handle these tasks smoothly. Crucially for audiophiles, the SWOFI M503 Pro supports lossless audio formats. This typically includes formats like FLAC, ALAC, WAV, and DSD. Playing these formats allows for sound quality that is theoretically identical to the original studio recording, without the data compression found in formats like MP3. For users with high-quality headphones and a discerning ear, this support for lossless audio is a critical feature that elevates the listening experience significantly. All these premium features, the large screen, Android OS, Wi-Fi, large storage and audiophile-grade format support, naturally come at a higher cost compared to basic MP3 players. This positions the SWOFI M503 Pro in the upper tier of the market. Additionally, like other feature-rich Android players, it's noted to have a shorter playback time. The powerful components and connectivity options consume more energy, so battery life will be a trade-off for its advanced capabilities. So, who is the SWOFI M503 Pro for? It's targeted at the serious music enthusiast, potentially the audiophile, who wants a dedicated player with substantial storage, the flexibility of Android and streaming apps, and uncompromised sound quality with lossless format support. It's for someone who sees their MP3 player as a high-fidelity audio device, not just a simple music gadget, and is willing to pay a premium for that experience and capacity. Last but not least in our lineup is the iMunsa 64GB MP3 player. This player attempts to strike a balance, offering a compact design, a good amount of storage, the latest iteration of Bluetooth in this group, Bluetooth 5.2, and a suite of additional non-streaming features like an FM radio and voice recorder. It positions itself as a versatile, user-friendly option for those who want more than just music playback but don't necessarily need or want Wi-Fi streaming. One of the interesting specs here is Bluetooth 5.2. This is a slightly newer version than the Bluetooth 5.0 found in the other players we've discussed. Bluetooth 5.2 can offer enhancements in connectivity, potentially faster pairing, improved stability, and better energy efficiency. It also introduces features like LE audio, low-energy audio, which, if supported by both the player and compatible headphones, could mean better audio quality at lower power consumption and support for Auracast broadcast audio in the future. This makes it a bit more future-proof. With 64 gigabytes of internal storage, the iMunsa sits comfortably in the mid to high range for built-in capacity among these contenders. This is a generous amount, offering space for a substantial music library, potentially around 15,000 average-sized MP3 tracks. It's more than the Aigo and AGP tech, and while less than the SWOFI's internal offering, it's still very respectable for a compact player. Whether it supports microSD expansion would be a key detail to confirm for those with even larger libraries. A classic feature making a welcome appearance is the FM radio. For many, an FM radio is still a valuable addition, allowing access to live broadcasts, news, sports and music without needing any data connection or stored files. It's a nice backup for when your curated library feels stale, or you just want to tune into something local. The quality of the FM reception will depend on the internal tuner and antenna design. The iMunsa also includes a voice recorder, This can be a handy utility for capturing quick notes, reminders, lectures, or even impromptu interviews. The quality of the built-in microphone will determine its usefulness for more demanding recording tasks. But for casual use, it's a convenient tool to have integrated into your media player, saving you from needing yet another separate device. Adding to its versatility, an e-book reader function is also mentioned. While a smaller screen on an MP3 player is unlikely to be ideal for extensive reading sessions compared to a dedicated e-reader or tablet, it can be useful for carrying and reading simple text files or ebooks in a pinch. It's another one of those bonus features that adds a bit of extra value, especially if you want to consolidate simple tasks onto one device. The iMunsa is described as portable and user-friendly. This suggests a compact form factor similar to the Aigo or Finistec, making it easy to carry around. The user-friendliness likely points to a straightforward interface, probably button-operated given the smaller screen mentioned, designed for easy access to its various functions without a steep learning curve. Simplicity in operation is often a plus for these kinds of multi-function devices. Like the Aigo and Finistec, the iMunsa lacks Wi-Fi and therefore streaming capabilities. Its focus is on locally stored media and its suite of built-in utilities. This means music, audiobooks, and podcasts need to be transferred manually. This choice contributes to potentially better battery life and a simpler, more focused user experience, free from the distractions and complexities of an online connected device. The smaller screen with limited navigation options implies a non-touch, button-controlled interface, similar to what we discussed for the Aigo and Finistec. While this is good for battery life and tactile control, navigating a 64GB library or managing multiple features like radio, recorder, and e-reader might require a bit more patience compared to a touchscreen. The efficiency of the menu system will be important here. So, who is the iMunsa 64GB MP3 player for? It's for the user who wants a feature-rich offline player. Someone who appreciates a good amount of storage, the latest Bluetooth for their wireless audio, and values bonus utilities like an FM radio, voice recorder, and basic ebook reader. It's for those who don't need streaming but want a versatile, portable device for various types of local media and simple tasks all in one package. It's a jack of many trades in the non-streaming category. So that's a look at the Aigo 40GB MP3 player and 5 of its key competitors in the market as of May 2025. As you can see, the MP3 player category is far from monolithic. We've seen everything from simple focused devices like the Aigo and Finistec Z6, which prioritize local playback and battery life, to more advanced Android-based players like the AGP Tech T05 and Swofi M500 III Pro, offering streaming apps and large touchscreens. Then there's the iMunsa, trying to pack in a variety of offline features with the latest Bluetooth. Each of these MP3 players caters to different needs and preferences, and there's no single best one for everyone. The right choice for you really depends on what you value most. Consider your priorities, be it streaming app compatibility for services like Spotify, massive storage capacity for a huge lossless library, exceptional battery life for long trips, or ultimate portability for workouts. Do you need Wi-Fi? Is a touchscreen essential, or are you happy with buttons? Are extra features like an FM radio or voice recorder important to you? Laying out these priorities will help you narrow down the field and select the device that best fits your lifestyle and how you intend to use it. Hopefully, this comparison has given you a clearer idea of what each of these players brings to the table. It's pretty clear that even with smartphones being so capable, there's still a place for dedicated music players. Whether it's for better audio quality, a distraction-free experience, or just having a separate device for your media. The market continues to offer some interesting options. Thanks for watching, and if this breakdown helped you out, or if you have experience with any of these players, let me know down in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech reviews. Peace.